I'm interested in small minority endangered languages that are spoken in the Middle East. In addition, some languages spoken on Long Island. Most of my work has been on Aramaic, which is still spoken, although in ancient times it was a very important international language, and there was a lot of important literature written in it in many countries. But now it's reduced to maybe a couple of 100,000 speakers in different parts of the Middle East. I would say that my own work on Aramaic doesn't really have societal application. Yes, it does, in the sense that people in those communities who speak the language, but it's hardly written. It's not used as a language of education or writing nowadays. To them, preservation of the language and of the oral literature that exists in it is a very important sign of their identity and their heritage. So in that sense, there is an application. The other kind of application of my work on Aramaic is that if we know what the modern languages are like, we can work on how they changed from ancient times, from the written ancient languages, and learn something about the path of linguistic change in this very long documented language. The other project that I'm involved with is with the Native American languages of Long Island. There are at least 3 Indian nations that are spoken, that exist on Long Island. There are 2 reservations in the South Shore and the eastern end of Long Island. And their languages haven't been spoken for many generations. We don't know how long. But there's documentation of what they were like several hundred years ago. And the people are very eager to revive the speaking of their languages. All of the communities that I work with are multilingual. All of them involve people who speak, or in former generations used to speak, culturally important languages that are in the process of dying or have not been spoken for a long time. They are in the context of major languages, languages of nations, of the United States, for instance, English, or in the Middle East it could be Arabic or Persian or Turkish in those countries. And the people are all multilingual. I knew a man who could keep an audience of people entertained with stories and jokes in any of 4 languages, none of which he could read or write. So these are tremendously complex linguistically, but the people function in them. The people use everybody. There's no monolingual speakers. It's the pressure of this multilingualism and the pressure of the big national languages that's causing, or has over many hundreds of years, caused the decline of the individual languages. It does. I'm Jewish, and I learned Hebrew as a child in school. My parents chose to send me to schools where we spoke Hebrew. Learned to speak quite fluently. The languages that I work on in the Middle East are Semitic languages, therefore related to Hebrew, more or less distantly. Some of the speakers are Jewish, from places like Iraq and Iran. Others are Christian. Both of those are minorities within the largest, the dominant group, which is Muslim. So I first started working with Jewish Aramaic speakers who had moved from Iraq to Israel, and I worked with the community in Israel. Since I branched out to various other languages and groups.